Hello, everybody. So this is round 4 of our Legacy event this week, League 6. I was going to just record these games really quick because we were running out of time because of the Ravnica pre-release deal, or pre-release. What do they call it? The Ravnica Early Access Streamer event. And so I wasn't able to stream them, so I was going to record them real quick, and then I played the game and I commentated it the whole time and I didn't record it. So we're going back to game 4 here. Let's go ahead and all right, so I think I remember deciding to keep this opening hand. Leading off with an island is not an unusual practice for Legacy Merfolk, so lead on island we shall. Our opponent plays a basic mountain, plays a goblin guide, gets into the red zone, and we revealed Curse Catcher, which isn't bad in this matchup, but you know, it's obviously we're playing against some sort of like red burn deck, like red aggro deck. But the key player in this scenario was Chalice of the Void. So obviously here I am playing out Chalice of the Void, Chalice on 1, against this opponent is kind of backbreaking against Burn basically. Our opponent plays a second mountain, swings with Goblin Guide, trying to get as much damage in as they can basically. And we draw into Force of Will, which is pretty nuts. So that was a really awesome draw. So I go ahead and I play Cavern of Souls, name Merfolk, and I cast Curse Catcher. Chalice of the Void's ability still triggers and goes on the stack. However, Curse Catcher is now uncounterable due to Cavern of Souls. I can talk, I promise. So yeah, then we go ahead and we drop the Lord. We basically just need to get some bodies on deck, so we went ahead and did that. So our opponent decides to attack. We decide to let him through, not fearing any bolts or anything like of that nature. We basically have not free reign, but we're in pretty good shape. So we go ahead and attack here. Get our opponent back for 4. Then we tap for Smuggler's Copter to kind of just help loot and get through things. And there's Mutavault. Just another thing that we can... real quick before... So one of the other big things about this play was basically keeping up Cavern of Souls and Mutavault. I can just activate Mutavault to block and kill the Goblin Guide should our opponent attack. So our opponent passes the turn and discards a Lava Spike. So we draw into Force of Will, which is not a terrible magic card. But at this point we decide to Echoing Truth the Goblin Guide, put it back in his hand, make it unplayable. We activate Mutavault, and we activate Smuggler's Copter with Curse Catcher, and at that point our opponent conceded. So we had basically 8 power a turn, so our opponent was on a 2-turn clock, and the Mutavault and the Smuggler's Copter basically he could not do anything about just because of it being sorcery speed removal. So we'll go on to match 2 and I'll pull up the sideboard and all that fun stuff. So here we are in game 4 of our league. This was match 2. So this is how I sideboarded. So we won game 1. For some reason I thought True Name was going to be too slow, which obviously in hindsight was a terrible idea. But what I did was I traded out 2 True Name Nemesis for 2 Fluster Storms. Just having those extra 1 mana counter spells is really great. So that's what I sided out. So our opponent was on the play, which is not good when you're playing against Burn. I don't remember I kept this hand. Because I mean basically we have Phantasmal Image and Silvergill Adept plus Force of Will We have lots of stuff that we can do to protect ourselves. So our opponent starts off with a mountain and chain lightning. We obviously can do nothing about chain lightning unless they want to blood moon us. Then we can do, and we drew a basic island. So good start drawing into basic island. Opponent plays a second mountain and a goblin guide and goes attacking, of course, as they are wont to do. We reveal Aether Vial. Oh, right there. Which wasn't terrible. It's not terrible draw, but we play Cavernous Souls, and I decided to play out the Aether Vial. My thinking was my opponent was already down to 4 cards in hand at this point. And what I wanted to do was basically outpace my opponent. In that, basically, when they use up their cards, having Vial down would kind of give us advantage. So, so I decided instead of playing a creature that would just get bolted or whatever, play Aether Vial. And we'll see how that worked out. Alright, our opponent lightning bolts our face with some nice bolts there. That's what you do with lightning bolt. You bolt the bird or you bolt the face. Our opponent swings in with Goblin Guide, and we draw an island off the Goblin Guide. Thank you. He's been many places, and he remembers some of them. We put Aether Vial's trigger, and we obviously put a counter on it. We draw yet another island, yet another land. So we played Silvergo Adept, revealing Lord of Atlantis, and we draw into another island, which is not good when you're trying to outpace your opponent. And our opponent goes to smash to smithereens our Aether Vial. I should have let this just resolve. I was very protective of it, so I forced it, pitching the Phantasmal Image, which was definitely not the correct play. Should have. Obviously, hindsight being 2020, I can speak with authority of how bad of a Magic player I was right then. Our opponent decides not to go to combat in turn 4 here, but they do Chain Lightning our face, and we cannot do anything about it. So, getting down to 6 is pretty dangerous, but we do get our Vial up to 2, and we draw another island. So, that could have been an opportunity to have played the Lord of Atlantis and attacked. I think my line of thinking at that point was, I don't have enough mana to cast Force of Will, so if I need to force something, I need something to pitch to it. And then on top of that, we have Violet too, so if our opponent does not force me to use the Force of Will, then I just Violet in. So here comes another Smash to Smithereens. And I do end up forcing this. And the reason I did that was because basically if they have bolts or Lava Spike in hand, then we're just dead, because that deals 3, so we go to 3, Lava Spike, bolts, hits us, we're dead. So we leave Vial on 2. We draw Smuggler's Copter. We play Smuggler's Copter, play our land, and pass the turn. Although maybe we should have been attacking. Our opponent Rift Bolts us, like hard cast Rift Bolt, and then that's basically it, because then our opponent Fire Blasts us, and we dead. So we went to -2, and that was the end of game 2 of this match. So we'll be right back with match 3. So here we are in match 3 of this game. I ended up putting the TNNs back in and taking out Aether Vials. I think Aether Vial is just too slow, and especially, we're on the play, so Vial would be a little bit better on the play. I concede, but basically I just wanted to make sure that we were able to get creatures down and turn them sideways. So I put the Vials back in the sideboard. So go ahead and close that. So we mulligan. I didn't stop there, but we mulliganed away basically a 4-land hand, which is just no good. So this hand is a little sketchy, and it has a non-basic instead of an island. But this deck hasn't shown us Wasteland or anything like that, so I'm a little bit more confident in just kind of letting it ride. So we let it ride. So we... Let's see, does it show what we scry? No, we keep, and we scried to the bottom True Name Nemesis. Basically just because we need to get to lands. We can't do anything without at least one more land. So we play Cavern Souls and we run out Aether Vial because, you know, it's Aether Vial. What are you gonna do? Opponent plays their basic mountain and Goblin Guide. That guy's getting predictable. Our opponent attacks and we draw Mutavault. Which in this case is fine because we have Silvergill Adept, and then we also have Curse Catcher backup off of, you know, vialing it in. So, you know, we're actually in not too bad of a spot here. We draw Phantasmal Image, which also takes advantage of us having basically no colored mana with Aether Vial. If we had another blue source, then we'd still be okay, but at least, you know, once we hit another island, then we'll be set to either, you know, Lord and Phantasmal Image in the same turn, what have you. But so what we do is we just play Silvergill, revealing Master of the Pearl Trident. The Lords are kind of important, or they are important, but our opponent knows about them, so it's whatever. So play Silvergill, pass the turn. Our opponent taps 2 for Lava Spike. What did they exile? Oh, I'm sorry. They suspended a Rift Bolt, and then they Lava Spiked our face. And our opponent did not attack because they want to keep their Goblin Guide alive. We then... Oh, come on. Then we went ahead and vialed in Curse Catcher. We went ahead and bumped up the Aether Vial, so that Aether Vial was at 2. Drew an Island, which was beautiful. The best, I think the best card we could have drawn at that point. We then played Lord, and we attacked. And now this one was a little weird. So I remember this specifically because I would not have allowed this to happen had I been in control. Maybe I clicked through it or something like that, but our opponent blocked Curse Catcher, and for some reason I didn't get priority back. I would have vialed in the Lord to save the Curse Catcher, but they ended up just trading. I don't know exactly what happened there, but definitely a mistake. But we have Lord and Phantasmal Image, so we're just gonna, you know, that's a solid plan. Plus we have Mutavault in play, so next turn we could just Lord and call it a day. And let's see here. So our opponent plays a second main phase Goblin Guide, and then we vial in Lord of Atlantis. We decide to not tick up Aether Vial, and we draw a second Phantasmal Image, which is pretty great. So then what we do here is we just put in Phantasmal Image, name Lord of Atlantis, and move to attacks, and get him for 13. Our opponent does block, and then we, at the end step, our opponent lightning bolts our face. So our opponent goes up to 3 cards for the turn. Our opponent taps 2 for Searing Blaze, which with the landfall trigger does trigger. I vial in Phantasmal Image as a copy of Master of the Pearl Trident just in case our opponent has another burn spell to kill it. But then our opponent simply lava spikes our face, and then promptly concedes after we untap. So we got there against Burn. It was a lot of fun playing the deck, but I feel really dumb for not having just recorded it in the first place. But yeah, so that's how the game went. We beat Burn, and we are going to go into the next round. So we'll see you tomorrow for the next round. Have a good one.